Welcome back to the Predictions and Wishlist series. Today we cover a heavily requested topic, marine and aquatic animals. With the announcement of the new Arctic Pack DLC coming on December the 17th, Frontier's post-release support of the Planet Zoo game has officially begun. And this series serves as not only an inspiration to the developers, but a fun and educational video to explore any future possible ideas that could be added for the game. The ocean is immense, and categorically there are certain ethical and environmental challenges when it comes to showcasing marine animals. For instance, most animals of this nature exhibited in zoos and aquariums occur in coastal waters or riverine and lake habitats. Very rarely can animals from the pelagic zone or the open ocean be accommodated. Habitat size restrictions, especially related to migratory animals, also make feasibility fairly questionable. Furthermore, ethical and animal welfare issues such as those related to pinnipeds and cetaceans have shifted an increasingly unpopular public opinion to showcase such animals. But this is a game after all, so in the spirit of inclusiveness and fun factor, I will try my best to encompass a wide variety of animals without being too critical on current captivity issues, but also denote some unrealistic candidates with an asterisk. First, let's talk about the extremely diverse possibility of aquarium fish and marine invertebrates. These smaller animals can be placed in small aquarium display tanks, not too different in size from the current in-game exhibits. From clownfish to seahorses, sea stars to cephalopods, it's quite literally too much of a deep dive to talk about every aquarium animal. So for the purposes of time and interest, here are some of my personal selections that are must additions for an aquarium DLC. These are mostly from the coral reef environment and thus do not cover the entire scope of the sea, but reef inhabitants are by far the most colourful and attractive specimens and thus the most likely to be added. Furthermore, most aquariums showcase their own local fish stocks, making it difficult to cover everything. Coral reef exhibits provide some overlap in this regard and thus makes any analysis considerably easier. Notable fish groups such as the anemone clownfish or the surgeonfish such as blue tangs have been made famous in popular culture thanks to movies such as Finding Nemo. Angelfish such as the emperor angelfish are among the most striking. Seahorses are another must as they are exhibited at every aquarium. The moray eels are the most colourful eel varieties and also come from coral reefs, though there is a shout for the freshwater electric eel. Echinoderms such as sea stars and sea urchins sometimes appear in touching pools. Mollusks are generally less interesting, with the cephalopod octopus, cuttlefish, squid and nautilus offering decent showcases, whilst bivalves such as clams are more suitable as scenery items rather than live animals. Jellyfish often have their own exhibits because they are prey items for some fish. Bioluminescent species such as the crystal jelly or moon jellyfish are showcased in dark ultraviolet lit exhibits as spectacular attractions. Again, this is only my considerations. I'm sure there's almost an infinite amount more of available aquarium animals. But anyway, let's move on to the larger specific animal groups that are suitable in more expansive habitats rather than aquarium tanks. A better terminology for this is oceanarium habitats. These usually involve structures such as acrylic glass tunnels, gigantic enclosures with tall glass displays immersed in the local seawater, or spacious pools with land features like in marine mammal parks. Firstly, pelagic fish or larger fish that inhabit the open ocean or are too large to be placed into small aquarium tanks. Honestly, there's not many that would interest me or other players, considering there are much better oceanic marine candidates, but species of swordfish, marlins, tuna and the sunfish or molars could be likely considered. Of course, by far the most famous aquarium and oceanarium fish are the sharks. Realistically though, large predatory sharks are seldom seen in captivity due to low tolerance, welfare issues and size constraints. Smaller sharks such as horn, bullheads, zebra and leopard sharks appear quite readily, whilst reef sharks such as the grey nurse and white tips are the most commonly exhibited sharks due to their willingness to adapt to captivity in coastal environments. The rest of this list contains the rest of the family of the Carcharinidae or the requiem sharks, typical reef-dwelling agile sharks that have multiple examples in captivity around the globe. These are by far the most likely or expected shark candidates. Moving on to more pelagic sharks, which have historically fared very poorly in captivity. The tiger shark is also part of the former family, regarded as one of the most dangerous shark species, but lacks meaningful captive representation. Hammerheads are popular and unique candidates, but also quite rare. The short-fin mako has widely considered as the most difficult shark to exhibit. The great white shark would undeniably be extremely popular with the crowd as an addition, but have likewise responded rather poorly in captivity, though reputable institutions such as the Monterey Bay Aquarium have had mixed results. Whale sharks, the largest living shark, are enjoying a popular resurgence with well-funded and large aquariums capable of housing even multiple specimens. It's still unlikely, maybe a possibility, that these sharks will be considered, but it's much more feasible to see the previously explored reef sharks grace the game. The close relatives of sharks include the rays and skates, and these also serve as mildly popular oceanarium animals. Sawfish are popular and hardy, with the two large tooth and green sawfish varieties very common in aquariums. Bull rays, spotted eagle rays, and shark rays are likewise abundant, often inhabiting combined glass tunnel exhibits or large tanks alongside sharks. The manta ray is no doubt the most spectacular specimen here, as the largest ray in the world, but due to their size, not all aquariums can accommodate them. As a result, they are considered a very prestigious asset. One of the several marine reptilian groups, sea turtles appear in every tropical and subtropical ocean environment, and are extremely popular animals even in captivity. Their pronounced conservation plight in recent times has increased their awareness as well, with some species now teetering on endangered or critical status. In captivity, sea turtles occasionally appear in well-funded aquariums. They are considered much more of a precious specimen that garners high popularity. Green, loggerhead and hawksbills are the most common in captivity. The two Ridley sea turtles are quite rarer, whilst the flatback sea turtle has more restricted representation, somewhat limited to Australia. Leatherback sea turtles do not exist at all in captivity due to their specific jellyfish diet and pelagic behaviour. As such, they are very unrealistic, but special candidate that could be considered. It is quite expected to see some representation from this group. The specialized aquatic snakes that inhabit the world's coral reefs are another possible marine reptilian group. They are quite notorious for being difficult to house in captivity. However, Japanese aquariums have been noted for their great success with these animals. As elapids, some members of this group rank among the most venomous snakes in the world. For instance, the Dubois and yellow-bellied sea snake rank 2nd and 4th on the most potent venom list respectively. Considering the amount of more interesting land snakes, sea snakes and kraits only really represent a possibility. We have covered penguins extensively already, especially with the Antarctic species in our polar and tundra video, as well as our coastal biome video here. However, it has been quite disappointing that there are no penguins currently in the game. Some other popular aquarium penguins include the Magellanic, the Humboldt and African penguins, but in general there should be an expectancy for some penguins in the near future. The order Sirenia consists of the aquatic mammals commonly referred to as the sea cows. Although not widely curated in aquariums, their highest densities are in East Asian and Australian facilities, with also a strong collection in European zoos. This group of animals are all classified as vulnerable and enjoy some conservational awareness. The dugong and West Indian manatee are the major specimens showcased, whilst the two riverine species are much rarer in captivity, and perhaps the former two are likely choices for inclusion. The pinnipeds are one of the most popular marine mammalian groups in captivity, especially with their perception as inquisitive and intelligent animals, complementing combined land and water exhibits well. Sea lions and fur seals, also known as the eared seals, are by far the most commonly kept captive specimens and still dominate the marine mammalian roster in zoos worldwide, due to their habitation of more temperate waters and their tendency to be much more active on land. They have a rich history in captivity as show animals, often displaying an intelligence rivaling dolphins and orcas. The Californian and Australian sea lion feature the highest population in captivity, with fur seals also in respectably high numbers, to the point where these would be expected features in any marine DLC. The walrus and eelis or true seals are considerably much less common. The fact they are less agile on land and come from rather remote or polar regions makes it more difficult to house and feed, but also to acquire them. The walrus historically appeared readily, but their captive representation is on the decline. Russia and Japan lead the world in prominent seal showcases, featuring particularly rare specimens such as the Baikal and ribbon seal. Ringed, harp, grey, harbour and even the giant elephant seals are present at some more select locations. Unfortunately, leopard seals are no longer in captivity after the last one was euthanized at Taronga Zoo in Sydney, Australia, and the animal is considered an extremely difficult and thus unrealistic aquarium animal for a number of reasons, but it would be great to see the Antarctic apex predator realized. Otherwise, the true seals are mostly only possible prospects. On to the cetaceans, the most famous of all marine mammals, but have endured an extensive yet complicated and tragic relationship with humans over recent history. Many players would oppose the addition of these animals, and rightly so, but perhaps implemented well enough and with good intentions, they could be viable additions into a marine DLC. We start with the most common cetaceans in captivity, dolphins and porpoises, or the toothed whales. Bottlenose dolphins have been the dominant dolphin species for quite some time, as they are curious and intelligent animals that interact well with humans, though almost every other ocean-going dolphin species have also been represented in some capacity. Otherwise, the orca or killer whale had by far its golden age in captivity during the 70s to 90s, where it served as an extremely popular addition. Today, their popularity has plummeted due to ongoing animal welfare issues, though there are still 60 orcas in captivity worldwide. Perhaps their inclusion would be in poor taste in this day and age, but it's important to remember it is a game and the developers should be allowed the liberty to portray the animals if they wish. Belugas were one of the first cetaceans to be kept in captivity, and alongside dolphins and the orca, another popular show animal. 81 animals are currently kept in the US and Canada alone, with a significant unknown number for the rest of the world, and thus still represent a large portion of captive cetaceans. Their close relative, the narwhal with its distinctive tusk, has had repeated captive attempts, but all have failed and they represent an unrealistic prospect. False and pygmy killer whales, pilot whales, finless and harbour porpoises are comparatively less common, but are also high-profile cetaceans in captivity. River dolphins are relatively obscure and lacking in captivity, but have recently had a surge of awareness due to alarming conservation issues, especially regarding the recent extinction of the baiji, or Yangtze River dolphin, the first cetacean to be driven to extinction by humans. It is thought that captive breeding could have saved the animal, but was implemented too late. Today, the Ganges and Indus River dolphins of Asia and the Amazon River dolphin of South America have been relegated to endangered status, with concerns over their ongoing plight. But with limited showcase in captivity, it is only slightly possible to see them considered. The final toothed whale group are the three species of sperm whales. Only the pygmy has had a history in captivity, but even then the longest lifespan of an individual was 21 months. The sperm whale's deep diving, pelagic behaviour and large size is an obvious limitation to captivity, and thus it is extremely unrealistic, but fans of Zoo Tycoon will remember the addition of the whale in that game's roster. Nevertheless, this group is very unlikely. Because of their large size and migratory behaviour, baleen whales also have an extremely limited history in captivity, with only the grey whale and the common minke whale exhibited in such cases, with none lasting for much more than a year. Realistically, only the pygmy right whale is capable of captivity on account of its much smaller size than members from this group. Despite this, the bowhead whale and humpback whale were featured in Zoo Tycoon's roster. Every other baleen whale can unequivocally be ruled out for size constraints, such as the blue and fin whales. So that ends our predictions and wishlist video for a hypothetical aquarium or marine DLC. I'm keen to see your thoughts on the possibility of such an expansion, or whether or not Frontier should be liberal with their animal choices and be able to add large-sized sharks, pinnipeds or cetaceans. It is a controversial topic, but I think it's also wise to realize games are meant to be fun at the end of the day. Whether or not they should be responsible for social issues is an entirely different argument. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Nevertheless, keep up to date with my Planet Zoo Conservatory series and subscribe for more content. Catch you guys later.